If you can hear me and see me, give me a thumbs up. All right, guys, we'll get the show started without any delay because we got a lot of stuff to talk about this Sunday, as per usual. I hope you guys are doing well and ready for another little dose of, I guess we can call it therapy for gear-addicted individuals. Let me know if you can see me, guys. Can you see me? I'm here. I'm live. Let's see here. Maybe you can't see me. I'm not sure. Hello, hello, hello. You can see me now? Yeah, there's a little delay, guys. I don't know what it is. Every time I did an update with the software that I'm using here, and I think they're playing around with something because now when I hit the start button, the go live button, it seems like there's a little delay, a little lag. So, I don't know. It always worries me a bit. But I guess if you guys can hear me now, it's all good. All right. Welcome to Addicted to Gear. Are you guys ready for another hour's worth of gear therapy? Hopefully you are. I've been looking forward to it all week. And here we are. So we're at show 125. So 125 is that a milestone number? I guess it is. You know, we're at 100% plus another quarter. Not bad. Pretty good. Yeah, Gene, I'm giving the Telecaster a little love today. This is my 52 reissue. I haven't played this one in a while. It hasn't been in rotation on my stand behind me, so I took it out mainly because I wanted to check to see if whether or not there would be any adjustments needed with the humidity, because this one's kind of a little pain to adjust. As you can see, the truss rod is not here, right? And it's underneath here. And so if you want to adjust the curvature of the neck, you got to pop off the neck, which is always a pain. Happy to report that it's pretty good. No adjustment required. So yeah, so how's everybody doing today? Everybody's doing well, I hope. Has anyone tried the Wampler Moxie? No, I haven't tried it yet, but it is interesting, Davis. I like all the stuff that comes out of Wampler. I'm a big Wampler fan. I had a couple of Wampler pedals back in the day. Well, I still have one now. The Pinnacle is one of my favorites. I love that one. And they have a couple of other nice ones. The Moxie looks pretty cool. Haven't had a chance to try that one yet. Yeah, so I'm giving the 52 reissue a little bit of love. So far, I think there's about 7 Telecasters in the collection. So I have to kind of do the round robin. And for some reason, this one doesn't get that much love anymore. I don't know why. But I think it's because of, I don't know, the other ones. But I'm liking it. It's always a good guitar. I like the feel of it. It's definitely a different feel because the neck is a little fatter on this one. But it feels nice. How's it go? I haven't played that song in ages. It's an old one, man. I don't know. It just popped into my head. I haven't played that one in probably 10 years, at least. I'm surprised I actually remember it. Anyways, All right, guys, let's get the show started. Let's say good morning. Let's start from the bottom up this time instead of the top, because there's a bunch of messages that have gone through the queue already. So I'm going to start from the most recent here. So John, good morning. John is saying good morning to Jamel. Good morning, Jamel. Jamel says he's working this morning, but he hopes we're all doing well. Thank you, Jamel. We're all doing well. Sorry to hear that you're working, but you know, you gotta work to buy gear, dude. So it's all good. Dan's here feeling grand, and other than a broken rib and a collapsed lung, live to suffer, no straps or standing for a while. What the hell happened to you, Dan? Did your wife catch you bringing in a new guitar and let you have it, or what's the story? Man, a broken rib and a collapsed lung, dude. Wow, that's not good, man. Fat Philosopher says, lost a few brain cells when I watched Landon remove that toy Telecaster out of the guitar case. I missed that one. Yeah, it's you know, you gotta have a bit of fun with it, man. Let me just scroll back down here. Rico's here. Landon's here. Good morning, Landon. Hey, I enjoyed your show yesterday. Landon, the chord I was talking about yesterday. Sorry for my cryptic message, because I was actually driving, which I shouldn't be doing, while trying to text you the message. So I kind of did it really quickly. But what I was trying to tell you is the opening chord for, it's actually not, I think I said help by accident, but it's actually the opening chord for Hard Day's Night. So that Beatles chord caused a lot of controversy because nobody understood what it was for a long time, and people were like, "What the hell is that chord?" Well, what it is, it's an F chord, but he puts in the G, the high G, and he plays the F here with the thumb. So it's sort of like this. That's what the chord sounds like at the beginning of the song. So if you play it. That's sort of the beginning of that song. So it's just the F with the G, and he strums it hard at the beginning. And kind of have to get all the notes to ring out. And at the end, I think that's my favorite part, is the ending on that song. It's just, how does it go? I think it's just what was it again at the beginning, at the end? Yeah, I think it's the high, I think it's up here. That's the ending of it, which is basically just the F again. It's a cool song. I like the Beatles. I just brought it up because Landon, in case you guys don't know, Landon has a cool YouTube channel as well. Check out his show. And he just picked up a really nice Telecaster, which is the George Harrison model. Beautiful guitar. Congratulations, Landon. I'm sure you're going to love that guitar. Looks killer. As I mentioned, I always wanted to build one of those. I can't afford to buy that guitar. It's too expensive, man. You know, spending that kind of dough on one guitar, I have to think about it really hard. But I figured maybe one day I build one if I could find. I know there's a couple of people out there that pop up from time to time that make the bodies like that. They make kind of replica bodies. So I'm always scouting around looking for that. And eventually, if I find a body like that in good condition, I'll probably end up building myself one, but for the time being, I put it on hold. So good morning to you. Good morning to Steve, Cushman, Gene. Gene says I want the Timnus. That's the Wampler version of the what is it? The that's the Klon, I believe, right? I'm having fun playing the clean channel today. I don't know why. Basic clean. I'm gonna leave it on there. I know a lot of you guys. Some of you guys are complaining that I always play dirt, so today I'm leaving it on clean, just for fun, for a change. Billy Bears is here. Fat Philosopher's here. Gene, we said morning to you too already. Davis Music. I'm just scrolling back down here. The dog is not there yet. Fat Philosopher, yeah, the dog's here. She's snoring away under the desk. Yeah, man. Cushman says, I picked up an Epiphone Les Paul Korean made EMG's $300. Cool guitar. How do you like the EMGs, Cushman? Leo, good morning to you. Mark says the Wampler Rat's Bane is sick. I have that. So that's the their version of the Rat. Is that correct, Mark? I think that's what I heard. So the Timness equals the Klon. Yes, not sure about the Mini versus the full-size deluxe pedal. Quicksilver, I think I saw a couple of reviews where they were actually doing a Klon clone shootout. And they had like about 10 different pedals that were claiming to sound like the Klon. And then they had, I think, the real Klon. And the Timness was actually very close. Like, honestly, negligible in terms of difference. So if it's easy to get, not that expensive, you're probably okay with that. I bought a copy of a Klon a while ago from a guy who builds them, 68 pedals, and it's on my board. I use it as a boost. I think I showed my board the other day, the other week, if I'm not mistaken. So if you guys wanted to check that out, just go back 1 or 2 videos and you'll see. It's I use it as a boost before my dirt pedal, so that I can actually play around with it more and sculpt the tonality of the boost pedal, of the gain pedal, or the distortion pedal. Works well, man. It actually gives you a little bit more oomph, you know. I don't usually use it as a standalone pedal. I usually use it as a pedal that is just as a sort of like the spice on top of the sauce to make it a little bit better. So you guys doing all doing well today? I hope you are. I wanted to say, if you guys are new here, basically what the channel is about, I gotta say this. I'm sorry I repeat myself every week, guys, but it's for the newcomers. So basically, Addicted to Gear, we do reviews of gear, guitars, amplifiers, pedals, and we talk about gear in general, plus we talk about music on Sundays. Sundays is more like an open platform where we answer questions, we talk about previous things that we reviewed, new gear acquisitions, not just mine, but everyone that's here. So you guys are welcome to jump into the chat. We usually aim for about an hour. So like I always say, don't delay, like don't wait till the hour's up to ask your questions, because then maybe it'll be missed, right? If you want to support the channel, the best way you can support it is to subscribe. If you want to support the channel in other ways, you can buy some swag and get some cool stuff. You can also do super chats here if you wish. It's all appreciated, and it helps the channel continue to run. That's it. So welcome to all the newcomers. Welcome to all the regulars. And yeah, give me some feedback onto what you're gassing over this week, or if you've purchased. So there's a couple of people obviously looking for pedals. So maybe a couple of you are looking for new pedals. I'm always on the hunt for new pedals. Like, this is an ongoing thing. I never stop looking for pedals, because there's always new ones that pop up on the used market, and sometimes I just grab them, just spur of the moment, you know, because I feel like checking them out. I'm very much addicted to overdrive pedals. I think I have the most overdrive pedals than any other pedal in my collection. I think most of us guitarists kind of tend to gravitate towards the dirt pedals for whatever reason. But I'm always, you know, in the market for something else, so I'm always keeping my eyes open. Quicksilver says, I use the NuX's version of the Klon, the Horseman, and I use it as a distortion. Crank the gain to 3 o'clock, volume to taste, and the tone right at noon. Yeah, man. It's not expensive, and I'm sure it sounds pretty good. All right, good morning from Boston. Just finished walking the dog. Yeah, I got to get the dog some exercise too. All right, cool. So I'm just jumping around here, guys. So I don't see that many specific questions, but if you have any, jump in. As far as gear goes, guys, I mean, I haven't really, beyond the new guitar, which I don't want to show you right now. The video is pretty much finished. I just have to sort of finish the edits. I wanted to release it this week, but I got so busy I wasn't able to. So I'm trickling them out. So that video is going to be coming out this week for sure, probably Monday or Tuesday. It's a new guitar. That's what I purchased recently, and I'm really enjoying that guitar a lot. So I think you guys are going to find the review on that guitar interesting. Metal So nice. You have an amazing looking guitar. Thanks, dude. Thanks. Leo says he got the new Headrush MX5 Mini Modular Silver Edition. Pretty nifty little gadget. Traded all my pedals. I'm all digital now. Well, Leo, this is just my own personal advice. I usually don't trade all my pedals for anything digital. I tend to keep the pedals. I still end up buying the digital modular because I flip-flop back and forth, dude. Digital is really good. It's got a lot of advantages. I'm not knocking digital. I think they've come a long way in the technology. The little units that I have now are amazing. Like, honestly, for the price, they're killer. I don't have any super uber expensive digital gear. I was trying to get the Fractal, the FM9, but it's back ordered, and who knows when it's going to be in stock. So I'm kind of not buying anything digital yet until that thing is available. But I always keep my pedals because I go through phases. I go digital, and then I go flip-flop back to pedals, digital, pedals, because I love to use my amps, you know? Digital is not bad at all. I mean, it's super good, but every once in a while you want to crank the amp. You want to feel your pants, you know, flailing in the breeze of a nice 4x12 Marshall cabinet cranked up. You know, there's nothing like that. Pushing air. Anyways, all good, all good. Let's see here. Good morning, John D. But Leo, tell me how you like it so far. You're saying it's pretty nifty. Give me the lowdown on it. Tell me the most interesting feature that you like. Tonefish says, looking at this now, the eArt or ERT guitar ETT2 semi-hollow. They make some very cool guitars. I'm not gonna lie. I've tried the ERT guitars. They're good. I have a few now. So at the price that they're selling for, it's great bang for the buck. So if you want a semi-hollow, I'd go for it. I'd try it. Why not? Quicksilver says, Landon Billy, for all you know, Lowzone broke it themselves when they got the rookie tech to adjust the truss rod and ended with an oopsie. Ooh. You know, guys, maybe I'm jumping the gun, but I usually don't like to have my guitars adjusted or set up at a store. I usually like to go to an actual tech that just does just that, because in my experience, the guys that work in stores come and go. A lot of times they get, you know, today it's one guy, tomorrow it's another guy. You don't know their experience level. They're paying them probably minimum wage to do the setups in the stores because they don't want to spend a lot of money on that, right? My recommendation is find yourself a good local tech in your area. Bring your guitars there. Bring it to someone you trust. You might pay a little more, but you know it's going to be done well. Mark wants to know, I have a question. Tony, do you ever go see local bands and then geek out about their gear with them on set breaks? I did that last night. I do, actually. That's a real sign of a gear nerd, right? When you're listening. When I'm listening to something and I like the sound and it's really sounding good, I can't help myself but look at what the pedals that they're using are, what the gear is that they're using and stuff like that, and asking questions about it. Some stuff just sounds amazing. You hear it and you're like, man, how are they getting that sound? So yeah, it's worthwhile asking the questions. And a lot of guys, especially guitarists, they're open to that kind of stuff, you know. They enjoy asking questions and geeking out with other guitarists. So I don't think you're annoying them in any way. You know what I mean? It's all good. But to answer your questions, yeah, I do go see local bands. Actually, this last week, I really wanted to go to a show. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to go. But you guys, you might know. Do you guys know Guthrie Govan? I hope you do, because this guy's is a monster on guitar. If you don't know Guthrie, Google him right away, please, because this guy's a monster. Guthrie's been, he's an English guitarist. He's been playing guitar now for a long time. On YouTube, he pops up. He used to do a lot more YouTube videos early on. He used to play YouTube videos. At the beginning, I stumbled on this guy because he was doing covers. He was basically playing backing tracks of some other music like B.B. King, The Thrill Is Gone, and other stuff like that. And he was just improvising on top of it. Like, it didn't seem that it was rehearsed. He was just like, and it was just flowing. This guy is an animal. Amazing guitarist. I don't think there's anything he can't play, this guy. Amazing technique. Anyways, he plays with a band called the Aristocats. And he was in town. He was in Montreal for 2 days. And I really, really, really wanted to go see him, because the guy is like a monster. But I wasn't able to go, and I'm really disappointed. Who knows when he's going to come back. The thing is, man, I don't understand it. You guys have to explain something to me. How is it that a guy that is a virtuoso, this guy is definitely a virtuoso in my book. Definitely. How is it that he's just playing small clubs? He's not like, he hasn't broken it, like he hasn't made it big. So I'm wondering, like, is it even possible today for anyone who's a virtuoso to actually make it big? Like, you look at guys like Steve Vai, Satriani, and this guy, and they're amazing guitarists. Like, they're among the best that I've seen. Yet, they're not getting airplay on the radio. They're playing small clubs, you know, not even forums. Like, he wasn't playing a forum. It was just a small club, small venue, which in a way is good, because actually it's even better. You get like that really close feel. But, you know, it just breaks my heart to see that this guy's not getting more recognition. I'm sure a lot of you guys don't even know who he was. And you guys, you know, are into guitar. But anyways, check him out. Guthrie, amazing. He's got a couple of really good videos on YouTube where he's actually doing clinics outside. If you can find those, there's a series of 2 or 3 of those. Amazing. Like, he just explains things so well. And killer guitarist. So, just wanted to throw that out there. Yeah, he's definitely, I agree, he's definitely one of the most respected players in the world. At least by other guitarists, you know. But the average Joe on the street doesn't even know who he is, unfortunately, which is sad. Really sad. All right. Let's see what else, guys. Guthrie doesn't do a lot of social media, has not chased fame. Yeah, I think that is a big disadvantage for him. He should. Because I tell you what, if he would be doing regular social media, the guy would have like 1 million followers. You know, easy. But I guess he's not that kind of a guy. He focuses on playing. He strikes me as a little eccentric, this guy. But, you know, I'm sure he's very interesting. You know what I mean? If you see him talking, he's very, very articulate, seems very intelligent, but he does seem a little quirky. So maybe that's why. I don't know. Anyways, Eddie says Guthrie would trade all of his technique for one Hotel California. That's the sad truth, Eddie, man. I agree. It's weird, but it's just that, you know? It's like you have to be popular no matter... And it must be so frustrating for these guys because, honestly, they've got the chops, right? They're amongst the best guitarists in the world, yet fame has eluded them. It must be so frustrating to know that. And you're studying your music, you're studying your craft, and here's some guy, some young kid that pops up. Not going to name names. Greta Van Fleet. So there's some new band that pops up that copies Led Zeppelin songs. I won't name names. Greta Van Fleet. And all of a sudden they're big and they're not really as good as you are in terms of technique and playability and knowledge, but they just hit the nail on the head in terms of fame. So it's the sad truth. Dan says Guthrie is today's Tony McAlpine, just playing for the love of it. Fame comes, then that's the new... Yeah, but And I don't agree. I don't disagree with that, man. I think if you love what you're doing, it doesn't really matter. It's not a question of fame. The guy's making a living playing guitar, doing what he loves. Maybe that's enough for the guy. You know, maybe he doesn't want to give away his freedom, his, you know, when you're famous, there's a lot of things you got to give up. Maybe he doesn't want to do that. Maybe he just loves playing guitar and that's enough for him. Mark wants to know, how is your Marshall Studio 20 clean? I tried to get a Marshall amp for my trio. Dude, buy that amplifier. It's amazing. Honestly. Get that, it's not that expensive. You could get them used also. The Marshall 20, dude, my favorite, one of my favorite, I say one of because I have a few favorites, but definitely a great amplifier. You can definitely get cleans out of it. It dirties up really nicely with pedals. If you want to crank it, you can make it dirty also without pedals. My favorite amplifier. Just buy one. Trust me, you're not going to regret it. I see more and more people use those amplifiers in the background. You know, I've seen a lot of guitarists that I watch on YouTube that are very good guitarists, and they're starting to pop up in the back there. So I think a lot of people are starting to realize that it's a great amp. 20 watts is plenty loud, trust me, plenty loud to play in a band, and it has the 5-watt switch, which is beautiful. So just do it, and it has the effects loop in the back that you can pop in or take out of the circuit. So the best of both worlds. I've tried, honestly, I've tried other Marshall, original Marshall amplifiers. I had the 50-watt Plexi. I've had one that was hand-built for me from Rocket Retro. Kevin makes amazing hand-wired point-to-point amps. Beautiful sounding, both of them, but just too loud. You have to play them with an attenuator. This one checks all the boxes, and you can get it into the sweet spot without losing your hearing. The only other amp, Marshall amp, that I'm still gassing for, Mark, is a Landry amp. I don't know if you follow Landry on YouTube, but Bill makes really nice Marshall amplifiers. They sound amazing, but they're not necessarily, well, they kind of do clean up. It's basically a hot rodded type of Marshall that he's making. Check him out, you'll see. Great sounding Marshall amps. Eventually, maybe I'll buy one of his, but they're loud. I'm waiting for him to come out with a version that is not as loud. I think the least powerful version he's offering now is a 30-watter, I think. I'm not up to speed, but check out his channel, Bill Landry Amps. Amazing. He makes them himself out of his home, I believe, but he makes really amazing amps. He's actually a very good guitarist. If you ever watch his demo videos, his playing is fabulous. Seems like a very down-to-earth guy. I've had conversations with him. He knows his stuff, man. So check him out in case you are looking for something in the Marshall kind of sound territory. Dan says, Gospel of Mark, give the Studio Jubilee a try as well. Cleaner sound than you would think. I had the Jubilee before I bought this one, and I didn't keep it. I felt the Jubilee wasn't, in my opinion, not as clean as this guy. And it definitely has a specific sound. It's not as tweakable, in my opinion. It doesn't sound bad. It's a great amp if you like that sound, but it's sort of more of a one-trick pony. So I ended up selling it. I only kept it for a couple of days. I almost sold it immediately, that one. This one's not going anywhere. Yeah, the SV20 Cool Tunes, that's what we're talking about here. It's behind me here. I usually show it. Unfortunately, the way the camera's set up, even in my videos, you don't see the amps, but they're there. That's the Studio Plexi, Marshall Friedman Dirty Shirley 4x12 cab, Brunetti Plexi Man, Fender Supersonic 22, and there's a Blackstar JJN 20 also here. Those are the basic amps that I'm using right now. Joe Bonamassa is the opposite end of the Guthrie Govan model as far as a career. Yeah, but you know what? I'm sure it wasn't easy for Joe to get where he is today. He's still not getting like regular airplay. Like if I turn on the radio here, I'm never going to hear anything from Joe Bonamassa on the radio. You know, so yeah, he has a good following. I think he's achieved his goals in terms of getting his name out there. I mean, he's been playing since he was a kid. He's been playing all his life. He's paid his dues. But there's still a lot of people that, you know, his name is popular amongst guitarists. But if you ask somebody, do you know Joe Bonamassa? That's not necessarily a guitarist. They're not going to know who he is. All right, let me just scroll down here. Mark says to get a Marshall tones now. I put a small box pedal into my Boss Katana 100 watt 2x12, but after seeing this band last night, I gotta get tubes again. But the Katana is flexible. It is a nice option if you don't want to go crazy and you have it. Might as well tweak it. There's so many Marshall in a box pedals today that if you have a good clean bass tone, you probably can get a pretty great Marshall tone out of your any amplifier if you know how to dial it in a little bit. So it's a question of what you want, but I agree, Mark, there's nothing like tubes. Tubes will always be tubes. Although there's a lot of nice transistor type amps that are coming out. Surfer By says, I still want a Brunetti since you turned me on to them. Yeah, the Brunettis are great. They're great. There's so much flexibility in that amplifier. See, that's the thing. It's a question of, do you want a plain Jane vanilla amp like a Marshall Plexi, which doesn't have a lot of bells and whistles? It's pretty what you see is what you get. Or do you want to have an amplifier that has a lot of flexibility and you can do a lot with, I mean, that Brunetti, just the foot switch is on my pedal board. I showed it to you last week. It's a four switch foot pedal on that, whereas the Marshall doesn't even have a foot pedal, right? There's no channel switching on the Marshall at all. It's pretty straightforward. But the Brunetti, it's an Italian amp. It's really well made, like top of the line in terms of construction. If I had to select another Brunetti and I didn't have a budget, there's no price cap, I would get the Mercury. But the Mercury is uber expensive. And it's big. And it's loud. It's basically a gigging amp, like if you're playing in a stadium. But the sound that comes out of that thing is mind-boggling. So the next best thing is the Brunetti Plexi, man, if you're looking for that Marshall sound. And that amp, honestly, has a clean channel, simple clean channel, has the dirt channel, has a boost built in. It has switching, so if you want to boost the highs, make it more mellow, make it more cutting. There's the half power switch on that thing, the effects loop. There's not much you can't do with that amplifier. It's really like a Swiss Army knife version of the Marshall. So it's a different beast. But you can get like a typical Marshall sound and you can get the hot rodded Marshall sound. So it'll get you up to like JCM 800 territory if you want. And you can also do the vintage stuff, So it's money well spent, guys. And I don't get a cut, You buy that, I don't get a penny. I'm just telling you because that's my honest opinion. The disadvantage is you can't really find them anywhere. You have to order them directly from Italy. So you have to contact them. They'll ship it to you. But honestly, you're not going to want to sell the amplifier once you get it. I guarantee you that. Yes, Joe Bonamassa is great. There's a lot of unbelievable guitarists that are virtually unknown in the general public. Another example is Alexandra Zenner. Second to none. I agree, man. There's a lot of great guitarists that are playing at home in their like garage or in their bedroom, and they're on YouTube and they just blow your mind. And you're like, what the hell are these guys doing? Not being out there, playing their music every day. It's amazing. Another guy like that, I have to say, is Walter Trout. Do you guys know Walter Trout? If you're into blues, you might know this guy. It's funny how people recognize the name Joe Bonamassa, but not a lot of people recognize the name Walter Trout, even though he's been doing it for just as long, or actually longer than Joe. Amazing guitarist. He's definitely had ups and downs in his life. He almost died not too long ago. He had to have a liver transplant, and he came very close to dying. Anyways, just Google Walter Trout. This guy is an amazing guitarist. His tone is crazy because he plays blues, but he has almost like, to me, how can I put it? His sound is a lot raunchier than a standard blues sound. He has his own thing going, but he has the chops, I would say, similar to Stevie kind of, but in his own way. He sings and plays. He's an amazing guitarist and a really powerful force when it comes to blues. Yet, a lot of people don't know this guy. So that's another one. If you guys are not sure who he is, just definitely Google this guy. Do yourself a favor. Watch some of his videos. Watch some of his live videos. Yeah, I don't even know if he's touring as much anymore. I mean, health-wise, he's not doing the best. But he's had his second coming. He's done the drug thing. That's how he ruined his liver, the alcohol thing. He got a second chance in life. He got the liver transplant. He says he's cleaned up now, and he's appreciative of getting a second chance. So I'm looking forward to hearing a lot more music coming out of Walter Trout. But give this guy a listen to. Hotcakes Man says, you know who's not an amazing player? Me. Dude, the good thing about playing music is if you put in the hours, you will become an amazing player. Any of us who are not amazing players, and I count myself as one of them, it's simple. The formula is simple. It's you're not practicing enough. That's what it boils down to, guys. The more you practice, the better you become. All right, let me just scroll down here and Decal says, I ordered a pedal yesterday from Italy, combo pedal. What's it called? What did you order? He likes to leave us in suspense. Oh, man. Let's see here. I have two Ampeg V40s, one of which I put a fan into to keep the tubes cooler, and it imparts a different, cleaner sound. Yeah, that reminds me of one of my Mesa amps that had a fan in it. Which one was that? Oh yeah, I think it was the Electrodyne. I had a really cool Mesa amp called the Electrodyne, which was their take on a Marshall. Was the simplest, let's say, circuit that Mesa offered, because it was one channel, it had two gain stages basically, but it did have an effects loop. Very, very simple amp. I fell in love with it right away. It had a great, beautiful, thick, chewy sound. And it had a fan in it. I remember you had to keep the tubes cool. I remember that. Yeah, some companies are still doing that, which I don't think is a bad idea. Except they tend to get loud after a while, those fans. All right. Let me just scroll back down here. So I think you guys are really calming down in terms of buying gear. I don't see a lot of people buying gear. So the Rocker 83 has some sort of Boston sound. That's the one you bought? The Rocker 83. I'm not familiar with that one, man. And EB Bud says, any favorite Gibson model? I guess this is a question that goes out to everybody. I'll give you my opinion on that. Well, obviously the Les Paul. Love Les Pauls. That's number one. Number 2, 335. Love the 335s. And I'm going to say number 4 is going to be an ES 345, which I'm gassing over, but I don't own yet. So right now, a few Les Pauls are in the collection. 1335 from Gibson, 1335 from another company. But no 345s, not yet anyway. So the only one that's kind of on my list, but kind of at the bottom of the list is eventually I'd like to see or maybe buy an SG. Doesn't necessarily have to be a Gibson SG, but an SG style guitar eventually maybe might be nice. So that's my list. Yeah, I agree, Alan. Gear is getting expensive so quickly right now. So basically, you're basically you gotta be very selective unless you're buying used all the time. I recommend used all the time, as much as you can, man. You can go way further with your dollar and still get amazing guitars. I rarely buy new. I've said that over and over again. Fat Philosopher said, did anyone see my question about EQ pedals? I didn't. Let me see here. Let me scroll back up. I hope this is not the same scenario we've had a couple of weeks ago, Fat. For some reason, Fat Philosopher's messages sometimes don't pop up. I don't know why that happens. Scrolling. I didn't see it yet. So if you can post it again, go ahead. Sorry, didn't see it. But I see your other comment here regarding the Fender bass breaker. Yeah, I had one of those as well. I think you guys may have seen that review video I did on it. The bass breakers are cool because you're getting kind of a souped up, I'm not going to say Marshall sound, but a more gainy Fender for sure. So if you're after that kind of tone, then the bass breaker would be a good option. The only issues with the bass breaker is they seem, at least the one I had, seem to be noisy. So when you pop it into the second or third gain stage, you start getting that hissing sound like you're frying eggs. So it bothers a lot of people. If it bothers you, then I would say maybe look at a different amp. Fat Philosopher, just post your question again. I see your post now, so I don't know why it's not, the other one's not coming up. It's selectively deleting your posts for some reason. I don't know why, but just ask it again. Don't be shy. All right, let me just scroll back up again here. Okay, now we're getting some questions. All right, I'm seeing some good ones here. All right, Quicksilver says, well, I ordered the Ruby from UAFX to run into stereo with the Dream 65. In a week or so, the Lefty EP ES 335 in vintage burst will be here also. Apparently, I pre-ordered in December 2021. So, Quicksilver, first of all, congratulations on that really cool gear. Running in stereo is fun. Definitely fun. Are you doing the wet dry setup where you have the modulation effects coming out of one side and the full clean effects coming out of another side? When you do that, it sounds huge, man. I highly recommend you try that. A good friend of mine, also just bought the ES 335 in red, and he loves it. I tried it. It plays really nice. It's a really cool guitar. Definitely more affordable than a full-blown Gibson. So if you want to keep it under $1,000, yeah, grab one of those. When those things start hitting the used market, I think they're going to be hot items. I like them a lot better than the ones with the bigger headstock. If you buy the inspired by versions there, I like them a lot. Gene Cali says a 61 SG. Dan says, I bought a Jerry Cantrell wah and a used Kramer 84 for a project guitar working on a Harley Explorer copy modification project. Nice, Dan. I think you're on the right track with these buying these guitars and modding them to your liking. I recommend trying to do that if you have the skills, because you can get a really inexpensive guitar and make it really good. Some of the guitars that I play with all of the time or most of the time are guitars that I either built or modified. Putting them up to stock guitars right off the shelf, I'm enjoying them more in many cases, because you're basically tweaking them to your liking. So I recommend doing that. Charles says, I bought a Boss Metal Zone MT2 and a Dodd FX64 Icebox stereo chorus. So there's still some people buying those Metal Zones. I remember I bought a Metal Zone twice. Actually, I didn't buy it twice. I only bought it once. I tried a Metal Zone when I was in high school. A friend of mine brought it over, and for some reason I thought it sounded really, really cool at the time. This was when I was a kid. I was a teenager. And many, many years later, just for giggles, I bought another one. It came up used, like, I think for $40. So I just to reminisce, I ended up buying it, and I ended up selling it shortly after. It definitely has a very specific sound that either you love or hate. So it depends on how you're using that one. Eddie says, question. Buy a new guitar or put a couple of the old ones in the shop to be refretted and brought back to life. I would say refret them, dude. If you like them. Why not? If all they need to play well is a fret job. I know fret jobs are not cheap, but it all depends on the value of the guitar. When the fret jobs become more expensive than what the guitar is worth, I would say get rid of the guitars. But if you're looking at older, more valuable guitars, definitely go and get fret jobs done. You'll enjoy them. And Presley says, looks like the guitar market has started to pick up again, slow for the last couple of months, but I sold 3 customs this week. Nice. So a Jazz Hardtail Strat, a Zone Burst Strat, and a Dusky Rose Strat. So 3 in 1 week. Yeah, man, things are probably picking up again. I think what the reason why things have slowed down, this is just my opinion, guys. I could be totally off on this one. But I think the reason why things have slowed down is because I think a lot of people realize that post-COVID, prices shot up. A lot of prices shot up. You can see that when you go shopping for food, never mind guitars. But since the prices have shot up, I think people are kind of waiting for the prices to kind of come down and stabilize again before they start buying. And I guess eventually they realize, okay, this is about it, right? This is as low as it's going to go. And they start shopping again. Because there was a time where it was pretty crazy. It still is. I mean, you still see some people right now putting used gear priced really, really out of whack and hoping for the best, or basically fishing. But I think things are going to start coming down a little bit. So if you're patient, maybe this is why people are not buying as much. Hotcakes Man says, I have flubby, fat finger and make playing tough, but I'm getting better slowly. All right, just stick with it, dude. It's gonna work out. You'll see. John says, I bought a cheap Les Paul Gold Top copy P90 style pups with push-pull pots to cut the hum. Color is more bronze than gold. And truthfully, more metallic orange. Great axe for 5% of what Gibson would be. So is this Harley Benton Gold Top, John, or is it some other brand? Because it sounds a lot like you're describing a Harley Benton Gold Top with P90s. So let me know if that's the one you're talking about. So Fat Philosopher says, in the signal chain, does the compressor come before the EQ pedal? It's a good question. I usually run the compressor before the EQ in the way I have it set up. Usually the compressor is usually last in the chain. That's how I usually run it. But I don't think it really matters. It's really a question of taste. You know, so try both, see which ones you prefer. But right now in my signal chain, when I use a compressor, it's usually the last thing before going to the amp. The compressor, that is. Landon wants to know if I ever got into Badfinger. Yeah, there's a couple of songs that I like. I don't own any albums from them, albums, CDs, whatever, media. But I do, yeah, I like Badfinger. I'm not gonna say it's my favorite band, but I enjoy listening to them from time to time. Dan says, oh, and a Charvel / Jackson Model 2 for $300. $300, dude. Don't even question it. Buy the guitar, mod it, put some new pickups in it or whatever. And then when you're tired of it, you're still going to be able to sell it for $300. Just pop the pickups out, put the originals back in, and you're good to go. What's up with Fender laying off 300 people and being sued for overpricing? Yeah, that's sort of been making the rounds on social media this last week. Dude, I think it's just a question of bottom line. You know, Fender wants to make the bottom line. If it means cutting people, laying off people, they're gonna do it. Unfortunately, it's a shame. I've said it before. I don't think it's the right approach. I think everybody should try. All the companies should try and maintain their workforce as much as they can. But I guess they realize that, you know, for those certain types of jobs, it's probably easy to replace people, unfortunately. But from what I heard is that even some of the higher ups got laid off in that bucket layoff that they did. It's unfortunate. I don't like that. I don't like hearing that. And the funny thing is, the way I understand it is that they're laying off people that are making the expensive guitars. But they're not laying off any of the workforce where they're getting the import guitars. I guess they can't lay them off, right? You have to just cut ties. So it's a shame. But at the same time, we know that they're selling a lot more of the inexpensive guitars than they are selling the more expensive ones. So their bread and butter is the Squiers and, you know, the less expensive guitars, the sub $1,000 guitars. The more expensive custom shops and whatnot still sell, but not as much. And yeah, they got sued for price fixing overseas in the UK. I'm sure it's happening here too. They just didn't get caught yet. It's a shame. The story was that they were telling dealers not to lower prices, to stick to MSRP price or close to it, to keep the prices up. Anyways, you make of it what you will. It just leaves a sour taste in my mouth, and honestly, I'm not happy by it. There's a lot of other manufacturers out there that you can buy from. So if it really bothers you, vote with your money, spend it elsewhere. Maybe they'll get the message. Tonefish says, hey, are you looking at live chat or top chat? I have a chat window that appears for me in the software that I'm using. My streaming software has a window, so I'm just going through that. All right. Tony, have you ever used the EHF freeze? I'm thinking about getting it to hit a gainy chord, then solo over it. I've never seen someone use it with gain. I use it most as a faux rhythm player. So let me answer your question. The EHSX, oh man, I can't talk. I think I need hold on, I need a sip here. Give me a sec. So I don't have the EHX freeze, okay? But I do have a few looper pedals that have that function where you can freeze a note and just play over it. It's a cool feature, man. I like it because it also inspires new ideas, you know? So if anybody doesn't have a looper pedal, I highly recommend you get one because it's so much fun to play with. The simpler the better, in my opinion. Don't go crazy with some that have too many features and functions, because then you'll have, you know, just paralysis by default, because there's so many things that you can play with. You're just going to end up putting it in your drawer and leaving it there. If you you know, the Ditto looper that comes from TC Electronics is fine, very simple, and it's just fun to play with. And you'll be surprised how many cool ideas come out of it. Not that expensive either. So yeah, it'd be cool to try that, Mark. I'd like to hear what that sounds like. Maybe you can do that and post it on your Instagram or something like that. It would be really cool to hear that. Fat Philosopher says, Tony, I try an ESP Viper before you get an SG. You won't regret it. Thank you for the advice. You know, the ESPs, maybe it's just my local shops here, but I don't see a lot of ESP guitars in the shops, unfortunately. You know, because I'm sure if I try some, I probably like some, but it's just that they don't usually have. It's really disappointing to see the selection that most of the shops have. It's all the same stuff. Gibson, Fender, Squier, maybe a couple of PRS guitars, Ibanez, what else? You know, mostly those guitars, unfortunately. Sometimes they have some Gretches, but not much else, unfortunately. There's not a lot of variety. Quicksilver says, should have bought Landon's SG. I didn't know Landon was selling an SG. Landon, before you sell some stuff, give me, you know, send me a message. Maybe we can work something out. You never know. And Gene says, I like all SG style guitars. And Monk says, sadly, most of my gear is probably older than most of your viewers, but my newest guitar in '92. And so what's wrong with older gear, man? Older gear is the bomb. I love older gear. Gene says 1953 here. Fat Philosopher says, I haven't bought a new guitar since June. What's going on, Fat? You used to buy a new guitar every week. What's going on, you guys? John D says, Tony, lost all my messages. Do you see any from me? Are you talking about here in the chat, John? Let me see. If you're talking about in the chat, nope. Don't see it. Oh, yes. No. That's another John. John, no, I don't see your comments, unfortunately, here. What's going on? What's going on with this thing, man? Why is it selectively not posting all of the comments? I don't know what's going on. But anyways, John, just post it again, man, if you don't mind. Cushman says, what do you think of the Seymour Duncan Little 59er to give my Strat some kick? It'll definitely do that. I think a lot of people that have tried the 59ers agree that it does give the Strat more kick, but it doesn't really sound like a Strat after that. It's sort of in between a Strat and you know, something with a humbucker. It's funny, those mini pickups sort of are in betweens. Tweener pickups, I call them. Because they don't sound like a Strat, they don't sound like a full-blown humbucker. So you're going to get a different sound. The question is that the sound you're looking for? Or maybe just get a souped-up, regular single coil with a few more winds, you know, to kick it a little bit more. Did you guys realize that Fender is also re-releasing re-releasing? They figured out a way to make money on an old idea. They have the Fender JVs. Have you guys seen that? It's coming out now. They're basically, Fender JVs are basically modified 50s Telecasters. They have a 50s Telecaster and a 60s Stratocaster. And it's based on their Japanese-made models that came out with what they came out with a while ago. the older ones. So they decided to re-release these. And my opinion on that is, here we go again. There's a lot of really great Japanese, I think my dog has a fur ball. There's a lot of great Japanese Fender Strats and Telecasters floating around. If you're looking for one, I would recommend getting a used one as opposed to necessarily going out and paying a lot more for the new versions of these guitars that are kind of simulation guitars, I call them, because they're not the, you're not buying an original Japanese guitars. First of all, I got to say the Japanese guitars that Fender came out with, that I've tried. I own one Strat that is one of my favorites. They're amazing. You can get a really good Japanese quality Fender guitars that are still floating around out there. But of course, Fender has figured out a way to remarket it, charge you more, of course, for the same idea, an older idea. They're just rehashing it. So anyways, these guitars, I don't know what the price on them will be. Actually, I think just looking online really quickly, they're going to be listed for $1,299. And yeah, basically a basswood body. Actually, basswood is actually I like basswood bodies a lot, specifically on Telecasters. Soft V profile, bone nut, maple slab neck, 9.5 radius. I think they only have 2 colors right now. They do have the brass saddle on the Telecaster. And as far as the pickups go, I'm not sure what they're putting in as for pickups there. Anyways, it's just, I mean, it's not like I don't like that style of a guitar. I do. I just don't like the idea behind it that they're basically going to be charging more for the same old thing. You could probably get a nice Japanese Strat on Reverb or eBay for under $1,300. Then you're also looking at taxes. So you're looking at about at least $1,500 for that guitar. Landon says, I got 2 made in Japan, Japan exclusive Fender guitars this year. Both are awesome. The yen is low, so the prices are decent, even to import. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So Fender is kind of, I guess, catering to the people that are not looking and maybe don't know where to look for these deals. But I would strongly recommend go the used market first before you buy these guitars. If you really, really want to get one of these, go ahead. But I think, I just get that feeling we're being taken advantage of again. Eddie says, I have a 94 made in Japan Strat killer guitar, over 30 years old. Yeah, I bought one, a Strat, a beautiful Strat, also made in Japan, sight unseen, off eBay. I think I paid the thing at the time $600 maybe. I've had it for probably, I'm gonna say 20 years. It was used when I bought it. Amazing guitar, plays great, sounds great. I have nothing bad to say about that guitar. William says, have you tried Vola, Tony? They are made in Japan and freaking amazing. No, I haven't tried them yet. I know which ones you're talking about. I've seen a lot of reviews on them. Haven't tried it yet. One day, I'm sure I will, but not yet. There's a lot of great guitars coming out of Japan. There's a lot of great guitars coming out of China, Korea too. The Eastman actually just released a bunch of acoustic guitars. Not super inexpensive. They're over $1,000, but they're really nice looking and sounding acoustic guitars made in China. So if you guys don't like the made in China sticker, you know, maybe you're missing out on some really good guitars. I think it's time to kind of take that made in China prejudice or idea that Chinese guitars are all garbage, and take it with a grain of salt. I'm going to say try out the guitars, man. You might be surprised. Yeah, Quicksilver, those violas are pointy. I'm not that crazy about the look, to be honest, on the guitar. They have the little thing at the back and then headstock, and you know, but if they sound good, maybe you get over the look. But for me, the look is important. Fat Philosopher says, if you're going to buy from Japan direct, now is the best time ever. Hey, Fat Philosopher, you could be our middleman. You know, you're in Japan. If you come across really cool vintage Japanese Fenders or something similar, maybe you should let us know. Hey, we'll pay you a finder's fee. How's that? And then you can just arrange the shipment. That way we know it's going to get to us, and we know that somebody's actually going to look at the guitar with real eyes before we end up putting down our hard-earned money. Yeah, Landon, they're just trying to squeeze every last dollar out of the idea of, you know, these older guitars. They got to make money, exactly, 100%. The thing is, I mean, if you're a smart shopper, you know that you can get the same quality or the original ones for equal money or less. So just do a little bit of sleuth work on Google, eBay, Reverb, you know, a bunch of other places, your local used Kijiji or Craigslist or whatever, and you're going to come up with them. And you'd be surprised how little sometimes people are asking for these guitars. Mark says, I lied. I did get a new pedal this week. My bass player made a fuzz, and it's kind of is kind of giving it to you. Kind of giving it to you. I normally can't make fuzzes work for me, but this one's sick. So what do you mean kind of giving it to you? Either he is or he isn't. Or maybe, are you stealing it, Mark? Be honest. Is he giving it to you, but he doesn't know he's giving it to you? Is that it? You know what, Mark? I have the same situation happening with fuzzes on my end. I don't like fuzzes that are overly fuzzy. The ones that sound like your speakers are going to blow up. I don't like those. I find they're just too much over the top. But if you have a fuzz pedal and you use it sparingly, they sound great. This is my fuzz pedal that I built. There's no name on it. It's just a sparkly purple. I don't know if you can see that. But this is, what is this? This was, if I remember correctly, Dark Side of the Moon. It's a Dark Side of the Moon clone pedal. And it's DSOVM. I think if you Google that, you'll find it. I think, I forget where I bought it. Here, I hate talking and not talking in code. So let me just, hold on. Let me just do a little quick thing here. All right, so what this pedal is DSOTM fuzz pedal. It's a kit. You can get it from pedalpartsandkits.com. And it's a really nice, it's based on the popular version of the Lunar Fuzz, which is made by the Lunar Lander is the name of the pedal, which I actually had. It's a very expensive fuzz pedal. Sounds great, the Lunar Lander, but it's about $300. This is a knockoff or a copy of that circuit that you can build yourself. I built it. I like it. That's the fuzz pedal that I use when I'm after fuzz. The thing that I like about this pedal is that the circuit is one in which you're not going to overdo the fuzz. You can, but it actually cleans up really, really nice to the point where it almost sounds like a drive pedal. You have a lot of range in terms of the tone. So you can buy the kit, build it yourself, You can get the kit probably in a couple of places now, because I think a couple of places are carrying it as well. The actual kit I think is $70, and yeah, you can build it yourself. So if you're handy with the soldering iron and you know what you're looking at in terms of putting pedals together, try building your own. Turned out good for me. The thing is, with these kits, you got to be careful, because sometimes if you accidentally make a mistake, you got to backtrack and try and find where the mistake is, which is not always easy. Dan of New Jersey likes the ram's head. I haven't tried that one. Jeff says, I ordered a custom guitar from Polaris in China. Never heard plenty. I've heard plenty of positive feedback that their quality is good. Haven't received it yet, and hoping I won't have to do too much to it. And how did you come across it, Jeff? You were just searching on the internet, or somebody referred them to you? I'm always curious to know how people stumble upon new or relatively unknown brands. I guess it's through the internet and people like me. So he said I could hold on to the fuzz pedal. I see. Okay. Hold on. That means it's not really yours. You can use it, but he might ask you for a favor eventually. Guitarman45 says, have many strats, just picked up a Fender Ultra Texas T a couple of weeks ago. Congratulations, man. Nice guitar. Awesome, awesome. How do you like it? And where does it fit in your collection now compared to your others? On the totem pole. Is it your number one now? Or do you have something that you like even more? John, you're absolutely right. Guitarists do lose their minds when they change the specs from the originals. It's funny, we always want new stuff, but we don't want different stuff. It's good if it's new, but as long as it's the same. We're crazy that way. Oh, God. What are you going to do, right? So Quicksilver says, and he's answering John, he says, I saw that a long time ago with some crazy shipping charges also. For example, a classic Vibe selling for $800 plus $200 shipping. WTF. WTF means you're not going to buy, nobody's going to buy that guitar, hopefully. I hope that, some sucker didn't fall for it. It really hurts my heart to see people being taken advantage of. $800 for a classic Vibe already is like crazy. Plus another $200 shipping. Nuts. So Landon's saying 3 words: reverb, Kinko music. That's where to get the best made in Japan deals right now. So you guys, you heard it from Landon. Now there's going to be a run on all their stuff, Landon, and there's going to be nothing left. Well, I'll check it out myself. Sure, why not? Thanks for the tip, dude. Charles says he's jealous of your Harrison Rosewood Telecaster, Landon. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but it is a nice guitar. I definitely agree. Yeah, new and improved. Exactly, Landon. What does that mean, right? If it's new, how can it be improved? What I like is the term that they use when it's, limited edition. So what does limited edition means? It just means you can't buy this crap forever, right? Doesn't necessarily mean it's good. It's good. It just means that we're selling it. It's limited. It's not necessarily good, but because it's limited, we're going to charge you more. Anyways, those crazy marketing guys, I tell you. Guitarman45 says, I have a book by Tom Schultz. Think it's from the late 70s that I picked up. Then has many schematics and do-it-yourself pedal building projects. I wish I was just better at electronics because I'm not. So if the instructions that come with these pedal kits are clear, and some of them are, some of them aren't, it depends on where you're buying them from, you can basically put them together like building a model. As a kid, I loved to build model airplanes. I was a nerd, right? So I love to build model airplanes, model cars, model tanks, those kind of things. I was always very good at following schematics, instructions. So as long as the schematics on these pedals are good and clear, you're not going to have an issue. Some of them leave a lot to be desired. So if you buy a kit from one of these companies or locations, you got to be good at electronics, or at least understand how it works to be able to troubleshoot things. So you never know, right? Luckily, I've built, right now, I think I've built 3 or 4 pedals. They all worked. I still use one regularly on my board, and it actually has caused me to take off the Wampler pedal, which was one of my favorite pedals off my board. And I actually put in the pedal that I built because it sounded more amp-like than the Wampler did. So that says a lot. And I ended up paying that guitar kit $70, I think, maybe. That, not guitar kit, that pedal kit, $70. John, I'm sorry. John says, go up. Tony, go up around the middle. You're missing all of my messages. Okay, John, listen. Let me go back. I don't want to offend you. I'm not skipping you. Hold on. Let me just make John happy and go back up. Okay, so I see one of your messages that says, I have the Wampler Velvet Fuzz. Great guitar pedal. Love it. That is one of the pedals that I always wanted to get, John. I always had my eye on one of those. I said, if it pops up used, I'm going to grab it. They never pop up used. It's an older pedal. I don't know if they're still even making them, but I really like those pedals. So that's a good one. So that's okay. So that's one message from John. Let's go back up. See if I can find another message from John. I'll do a 2-4. Let me see here. Scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. Trying to scroll quickly so I don't bore the rest of you guys. Talk amongst yourselves as I find John's message. John says, you're right, Tony, 100%. Epiphone are making incredible guitars. Yes, I agree. The new Inspired By editions are great. I bought a Hummingbird acoustic guitar. Love it. As I mentioned, my friend bought a 335 Inspired By. He loves it. I think it was a great choice. I tried those two, by the way, and it definitely could hold its own next to the more expensive 335s. So that's 2. One more. Locking tuners are nice. Work great. Love the neck. Wow. Okay, and now getting to the bridge pickup sounds great in both positions, single or humbucker. There's also no noise in any position. All right, and I'm getting to the number 1. For those who say buy a Fender, this has so much better options as far as controls go, location, the input jack, totally well thought out. Light guitar also. Okay, which one was it, John? Here he is. Tony, bought the Schecter Nick Johnson traditional HSS electric guitar, ebony fingerboard, great deal at Z Sounds. Gave me 20% off, long-time customer, regular $8.99 everywhere, paid $7.19. All right, cool. So I finally got your messages. So they're there. I guess, missed them. Sorry about that, John. Schecter, a lot of people have told me Schecter are good guitars. And now you're saying out of the box, one of the best I've ever bought. Had to do nothing. I love the one-piece roasted maple neck. Sounds fantastic. Not thin sounding, more of a deep tone, but does sound like a Strat. Fat Philosopher mentions the fact that he likes the Schecters too. And they have a lot of nice looking models on those guitars as well. So I guess, yeah, for that price, it's definitely a good option. If you're not stuck to the Fender name, that is. So congratulations on that guitar, man. It seems like a really nice deal you got there, dude. It always helps to have a couple of dollars off. Even if it's not a huge deal, but even like, 50, 75, $100 less, that goes, it makes you feel good. You can walk home with a guitar with a spring in your step and be happy, as opposed to feeling like you got ripped off if you're going and buying a Fender guitar or a Gibson guitar sometimes, It's a harder pill to swallow. Gene says, Tony, can't get too high. I beg to differ. Alex T112, 2112, must be a Rush aficionado here. Alex 2112 tells me we have a Rush fan in the house. Says, love your show. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. D-Mac says, hi, Tony. Any experiences with the Marshall DSLs? I'm seeing more show up in stores again. Thinking of trying the DSL-20, as 40 would probably be too much for my apartment. The DSLs are a staple of the Marshall line. Everybody, well, not everybody, but so many people have owned DSLs. Even at some point or another, you've either played through a DSL, owned a DSL, or thought of getting a DSL. The DSLs, in my opinion, are great workhorses. Are they the best sounding Marshall amps? In my opinion, I would say no. Depends on what you're after, however. But I would definitely go with the Studio Plexi over the DSL-20 anytime. And I'm not trying to be a snob or anything like that. I just feel that the Studio Plexi offers a lot more flexibility. In my opinion, I like to start off with an amp that has a good, clean sound. If you can never get a good, clean sound out of an amplifier, it's hard to build on that foundation. And the Studio Plexi definitely will give you a nice clean and takes pedals extremely well. So anything you throw at it sounds really good. Put in a good reverb in the loop, or maybe a touch of delay just to make the sound bigger. Boost it with a pedal. You can get great tones out of that amplifier without having to bust your eardrums. And if you want to crank it, you can definitely push air. I know they have the combo version. I would recommend getting the head version over the combo, because then you can match it up with any cab that you want. I prefer to go with an external cab, because then you could mix and match. If you have one or two, you can have different type speakers. You can put it on a 4x12 cab. If you have one access to one, you can go with a 1x12 closed back. You can get a lot more flexibility out of it. Landon agrees. The Schecter PT Special is great, he says. And Fat Philosopher also says he's got one, a Schecter, and wouldn't mind another. Rico says, did you keep the vintage wiring in your 52? I did not. No, I didn't, Rico. I actually swapped out. This one came with a cap, which made the neck pickup sound very bassy. So I took that out, and I actually also swapped the pickups. I kept the original Fender 52 pickups, but they sounded a little bit anemic to me. So I actually swapped out the pickups in it, and I actually like it more now. My pleasure, John. No worries. I aim to please. I don't mind searching for your messages. Thank you for telling me I skipped them. Like I say, guys, if I skip your message, I'm not trying to be rude or anything. I'm just jumping around. So I may see them. Sometimes I may skip them. Nick says, John says the Nick J. Schecter looks nice, but I disagree that a Telecaster Les Paul jack placement is better than the angled front mount Strat style. You know which jack placement I like the best. It's not the Les Paul, it's not the Strat. It's actually the way Charvel is doing it, where they're actually putting the Strat style jack input, but instead of putting it in the front, they're actually putting it in the back, and they actually like chamfer the back so it's at an angle and then put the jack in there. I think that is a great idea. It's out of the way. You're not going to trip over your wire as much as it's coming out the back. It's a little bit, more of a pain to put it in. Well, not really, but I think it works really nice. I have one guitar that is using that style of a jack input, and I like it. Dan says DSL 40CR is a nice entry tube amp. Definitely look on the used market, as there are a lot out there. That is one of the advantages of the DSLs. There's a lot out on the used market. Everybody and their sister has owned one and is selling one, so you can probably get them for not too much money. I came really close to buying one just out of curiosity because I wanted to try it for myself, but then I ended up thinking about it and I let it go because it was really a good deal used. I figured, what the hell? But then I'm happy with the stuff that I have, so I didn't go for it. Gene says, I want to paint a guitar with automotive trunk paint. It's spatter paint. Okay. I haven't tried that. I've painted guitars with automotive paint, but never with spatter paint. So I don't know what to tell you in terms of what you're going to get. Right, let me just scroll a little bit. New amp day, new X Mighty Air. Alex. Dude, congratulations. I wanted to also tell you guys, that's a good segue. The Mighty Plug Pro, I can't even say that. Mighty Plug Pro. Mighty Plug Pro. Say that 5 times fast. Mighty Plug Pro. Mighty Plug Pro. Mighty Plug Pro. MP3 NUX. This is coming up. I just shot a video and loving this thing, man. It's so much fun. I haven't stopped playing it. It's really, really cool. Anyways, that's going to be coming up. And Paul says, got an AMTP drive, convincing 5150s in a MIDI pedal. Paul always has really great pedal suggestions, so I always pay attention to his suggestions and take a look at those. Fat Philosopher says, my LTD Viper was painted in a car auto body shop. Looks good. If you have access to good paint tools, a good gun, a clean room, you're gonna get factory paint jobs if you're working painting a guitar in an auto body shop and you know what you're doing. If you're painting with spray cans, requires a lot more attention to detail and care, but you can do it. It's doable. I've done it. All right, guys, I'm gonna cut you loose. I was aiming for an hour. We've done an hour and a half. I aim to give you guys more. I gave you, 50% more. So I think we're gonna cut it there and allow you guys to get cracking and do some practicing maybe on the weekend. It's a good opportunity to maybe spend an extra half an hour after the show. Now that you're all pumped up and thinking about gear, to take your guitar and practice for about 30 minutes before you head out or do other family-related things. But I really want to thank everybody for participating in the chat today. I'm going to take 1 or 2 last messages here before we wrap it up, and then set you loose onto the world. John says, Tony, I took off the pickguard and never seen such a clean inside. Not a speck of sawdust, heavy black insulated paint, well done, and absolutely no noise from the pickups. That's exactly what you want to see, man. It's funny because you rarely see that kind of attention to detail on some of the more expensive guitars. It's funny, isn't it? My nitro finish on the 66 Hagstrom project is finally set up. Started polishing out the pickguard yesterday. Neck and headstock polishing will begin today after the show. Hey, dude, send me a message or you know, a private message or an email or whatever when you're done. I'd like to see how it turned out, man. Sounds like a cool project. And Presley says, finishing up with a shell pink Telecaster, mint green guard, maple neck. Rock on, man. Sounds really good. Landon, take care, my friend. Enjoy playing your beautiful new Telecaster. Try out that chord. Let me know if you can get it to sound the way the beginning of that song starts. Thank you guys for another great Sunday. Thank you for an enjoyable hour and a half. Please tune in next Sunday. We're going to be here with more chit chat. Charles is working on another fabric top. Thanks, Tony. Great show. Charles, I'd like to see that one too, man. I'd like to see how it turns out. All right. Presley, I appreciate you guys as much as I hope you appreciate the show. John says, what's the big idea of telling us you swapped up the pickups but didn't tell us what you put in? That's just cruel, man. John, there's a method to my madness. Go back in my videos. I did a review of these pickups. You'll see exactly which pickups they are. You'll see I mention obviously where I got them from, and you'll also be able to hear them. So check them out. And you'll get all the details. More than I could describe here in a couple of seconds. All right, guys. Have a great weekend, guys. Take care. Be careful out there. Tune in next Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be here with more great stuff, all right? Same bat time, same bat channel. That's right, Smith. Dan, you got it. All right. Take care, guys. Talk to you all soon.